There is a specific kind of grief that catches people off guard because it does not always get permission to be big. But when a pet dies, the quiet routines collapse. The footsteps that used to follow you, the ball that you still glance at, the instinct to reach down and touch them. If you are carrying that kind of loss, you are not dramatic, you are human. Welcome back to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, where we keep mental health practical, honest, and gentle enough to actually use in real life. I am Yusuf, and today I'm joined by Kaleel Sakakeeny for a conversation on something many people grieve deeply but often in silence: how to cope with the loss of a pet. We'll talk about why this hurts the way it does, what helps in the first days, and how to keep loving them without getting stuck in the pain. With that, I welcome my guest Khalil to the show.
Ah, what an interesting and poetic introduction. It
Thank you
really
so much.
touched my heart. You hit the essence of what this relationship between us and our animal companions is all about. It's a spiritual bond. It's deeper than most people realize, and because it's deeper than what they realize, they are stunned and shocked at the extent and depth of their grief. But you touched it. The footsteps that you no longer hear on the wooden floor, the ball that remains still now in the corner, the dish of food that is empty, gathering dust. Those are the signs, the outward visible signs of a break in the heart, a deep longing. And you're right, you touched it perfectly.
Thank you so much, sir. Khalil, to start off in a human way, when someone loses a pet, what is a reaction you hear that tells you, oh, they are trying to minimize their grief to survive it?
I think that you hit the nail on the head again when you said it. I forget the first words that you used, but it comes as a complete surprise. The depth of it and the size of it is shocking. And the first thing we hear is, well, there are many first things we hear. But among the first things we hear are, I think I'm losing my mind, or my life is not worth living, or most importantly, and what is amazing, I did not grieve this deeply when my best friend died. When my mother passed away, I did not grieve as deeply. Why is the pain so much greater and the tears so constant when they weren't that way when my relationship ended? And that is a shock for most people, that the depth of their grief from the loss of their animal companion is seen deeper and more profound than the loss of their human companion, friend, relative relationship. That is the mystery.
Yeah. And I'm curious, what do you think is the biggest misconception people have about pet loss grief?
The misperception comes from the shock. I never
Okay.
dreamed it was possible. Ah, not only is it possible, it's total and it's consuming. I didn't expect this. And it's the not expecting it that leads to the misperception, which is why is it happening? It's only a dog or it's only a cat. But the beauty of it, the mystery of it is this: our human to human relationships are marred by judgment, betrayal, disappointment, infidelity. We are ambivalent about the people that we live with and love. None of it is clean or pure. It's always full of disappointments. But that doesn't happen with our animal relationships. There is no time in that connection where they have judged us or are disappointed in us. As Robert Louis Stevenson, the great American writer, said, "Dear Lord, Please make me be the person my dog thinks I am. So it's this purity, this lack of judgment, this lack of betrayal, this lack of criticism that corrupts our human relationship that doesn't happen with us and our animals. So when they die, when they pass, they are the angels of our better selves. All of a sudden, the person that we were, that they made us into, that they allowed us to become, is gone. And the biggest, there is this great poem by Tagore called Prakriti, and she has moved beyond her old self. And the biggest thing she fears is falling back into her dead self. And so when our animal companion passes, the self that was created through that love and beauty, we fear we're going to fall back into that narrow minded, negative, pernicious, judgmental self. And that fear is as great as the emotional loss. And so it had multiple impacts. Did I make myself clear?
Yeah, yeah. And that is such an important point because the grief is not lesser, it is often purer because the love was very simple, very consistent, and everyday.
That's right. It was without judgment.
Yeah.
It was without criticism, without judgment. And so the next question comes almost always again, why am I grieving more deeply than I did the loss of my friend? Because of my parent, because our relationship with our parents, our friends is complex. This is not. This is pure. This is simple. This is non judgmental. Then the next question almost always is, how do I stop the grief?
Yeah.
My parents tell me, my friends tell me, I've been grieving too long. They want me to get back to the self that I was. But that self is gone. That normal is gone. There is no normal. Neurologically and emotionally, we have lost our minds. The mind that we created, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years being with an animal, how we walk in the house, where we put the food, who we let into the house, the tone of voice that we take, when we go out for a walk, when we come back. That's a whole mind that's been created around this relationship I have with my animal companion. Then when he or she dies and passes, the mind is saying, I've done what you asked me to do. I've created this existence. Now you've ended it and severed it. What do? I'm lost. I'm gone. There is a kind of insanity, a loss of mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Because pets don't just live in our homes, they live in our nervous systems. They are regulation, they are routine, they are safety. And so when they are gone, it's not only sadness, it is disorientation.
And fear. Fear
And
that we have lost something irreplaceable. We've lost a self that was far more beautiful than the self we had before the pet. We fall back into our shadow selves.
Yeah. Khalil, in the first week after a pet loss,
Hmm.
what are the most common grief glitches people experience, like hearing them, reaching for them, checking the door?
Hmm. That's a good question. It's not just the first week, it's for months and years afterwards. Uh, we know that the love never dies. We know that the pain softens. When people say, how long will I grieve? My answer is always, how long have you loved? And how long will you love? If you love forever, then the grief is forever. It softens. But that love, which is woven into your existence, which is part of your being, conscious level or unconscious level, sometimes manifests itself in a physical way. For example, the work I'm doing now, without my knowing it, without there being an absolute conscious connection, was the direct result of the death of my cat. My cat was a big love. All my animals are loves. But this was a bigger love than usual. He was just magnificent. And when he died, I lost my right. I wandered the streets. I drank too much. I didn't know what I was doing. And I began gradually, what help failed me because therapists always see this problem in terms of a mental health issue. There was nothing wrong with my mental health. I didn't need a medicine. There's no medicine for, or no pill for sadness. So I had to pull it all together and found that my cat manifested that love, touched me and moved me in creating this nonprofit, which has become very successful. Now, he does appear to me, not in a physical sense, a door doesn't open, I don't hear scratching in the door, but I feel directed. I feel inclined to make the right decision. I feel I can trust my instincts because of his presence and the presence of all the animals in my life. So for me, it manifests that way. For people I've worked with, they will feel the cat jump on the bed. They will feel the dog lick their face and they wake up and it's not there. So there is a very palpable presence, but it manifests itself in different ways with different people according to their temperament, their personality, and the relationship they have with their animal companions. It's forever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's not, that does not mean that you are broken. That is love and habit colliding with reality. And honestly, I believe those moments can feel cruel, but they're also the proof that the bond mattered, that the bond was so pure and strong.
Love and habit
Yeah.
colliding with
Like,
reality. I would only change the verb love and habit meshing, becoming compatible with, engaged in reality. They are your reality, they were your reality, and continue to be your reality. Not much in the same way because time goes on and we evolve and change and grow. But they're always there. They're always the angels of our better selves.
Khalil, if someone is listening right now and they are in that raw stage,
Raw stage.
what are the few grounded things that can help them get through the day without suppressing everything?
Cry as deeply and as often as you want to. Keep friends only who don't judge you, who don't say enough is enough. Be with people who understand, or who at least remain still and quiet in your presence and let you be. Go out into nature as much as you can. Nature is very healing. Take a walk in the woods, go by the sea. Write to your animal companion, talk to your animal companion as much as possible, and create a memorial because you externalize the grief. Plant a tree, plant some flowers, take a stone and write his or her name on it, and then take grief breaks. Allow yourself to have coffee with a friend. Allow yourself to watch a funny movie or a TV. Don't be afraid of that. Then you can come back and grieve. But if it's overwhelming, then come to us. Reach out to us. We have a group healing circle every month where people come and just open their hearts and talk. And we have individual one on one grief counseling. And we have classes in, for example, a workshop in pets and the afterlife. We have another workshop in how to become part of a grief healing circle. Another workshop in becoming a certified pet grief counselor. So there's help there.
Yeah. I I love that. And what do you think about rituals like writing a letter, creating a small memorial?
Incredibly important because we make the distinction between grieving and mourning. We think of grieving as an internal state and condition. We think of mourning as an external state and condition. So when you write that letter, when you create a kind of shrine or where you have a photograph and the dog food bowl and some of the ashes and the leash or the goldfish, the food bowl, or and you can walk by and touch that spot, touch that place. When you can plant a tree or create a little garden and put a stone there, when you can bring friends over and sing and remember, then the idea is gradually you are externalizing the grief and you are beginning a slow step of not resolution, but reconciliation. You are beginning to integrate the loss into your lives. And then the beautiful part is to watch what that integration does to you. Where does it move you? Some people it moves to work in shelters. Some people honor the lives of their beloved pets. They're working in an animal shelter by creating a nonprofit, by bringing in you make meaning out of the loss by ritual, ceremony, which gradually leads to making meaning and life changes. You become a more compassionate person because you have seen a love and felt the love that you do not normally experience.
Salil, for listeners who want to connect with you or just want to follow you, where can they find you?
Yes, the website is Animal Talks, that's plural, animaltalksinc.com. And we have lots of resources there, videos, blogs, essays, audio, and then, of course, the courses. And they can sign up for our newsletter on the site, which really is rich and robust and full of helpful ideas and concepts. Uh, we recognize their pain. We have all been there, but they are the expert in their own grief. They don't come to us for answers. They are the expert. They know what they need. We are here to witness and to companion and to be present for them in their grief journey.
Perfect. And to everyone listening, all these links are in the show notes, so just go and check those out. Khalil, is there any last message that you want to leave us with?
Just happy to be here with you. Just happy at your intelligence, your thoughtfulness, the kinds of questions that you're asking. You suggest to me that you have a deep understanding about these kinds of connections. You're gentle, you're thoughtful, and your questions are absolutely right on. Perhaps someday, God willing, or as we say, inshallah, we'll do it again.
Please. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
If you're grieving a pet right now, I want to say this clearly. You don't have to justify your pain. Love is love, and the body knows when someone safe is missing. Pet loss grief is real grief, and healing does not mean forgetting. It means learning how to carry love in a new form. If today's conversation helped you feel a little less alone, follow Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. We make space for the kinds of emotion people rush past, so you can meet them with steadiness, not shame. Share this episode with someone who loved their pet deeply and be gentle with yourself today. I am Yusuf and will be back soon.